Warm welcome to everyone present here. So today we are going to see what are all the crises which is happening in Sudan, why this crisis is happening, and we are also going to see about the Operation Coveri, which is launched by the Indian government as well to rescue the Indian citizens who are residing in Sudan as well. So we will see about how Sudan is being there, and let us see about all the things in detail. Okay, so Sudan basically is country in Africa. Basically, it was one of the largest country in Africa, and then it has been divided into two. In 2011, South Sudan got its independence, and there are one such official languages over there: Arabic as well as English. The capital is Khartoum. Khartoum, the place where all these riots and protests are. Or let's say civil war is happening over there. So let's see about the profile of Sudan. As I said, Sudan is one of the largest country in Africa, and government is like federal republic under a military junta. Junta is group of military leaders or military commanders, or let's say military heads. Okay, so population is around 46 million and area is around 1.9 million square kilometers. So Operation Kaveri is being done by the Indian government, and around 3,000 to 4,000 Indian citizens are there in Sudan. Okay, so these are the approximate figures of Indian citizens who are there in Sudan. Okay, so we are launching the Operation Kaveri, which has been done, which has been going on in full swing, and Minister of External Affairs Jaishankar was very keen in bringing all those that is no Indian citizens left back in Sudan. So he's very keen in bringing all those citizens back from the country of Sudan. Okay, so let's see. So Sudan is a northeastern African region. So basically, you can see there this is South Sudan, which gained independence in 2011 as well. So Sudan has a border with Red Sea, and we have to note that because in UPSC they will be asking, though Sudan is in crisis, they'll be asking the places where the civil war is happening. Khartoum is one place, and Darfur is the another place. We have to note it because we'll see about that in later. And Khartoum is located roughly in the center of the country, actually. So let's say here, and Sudan particularly borders with Red Sea, and it is south of Egypt as well. So we can easily locate the country of where Sudan is there. So, and country, it is mostly dominated by Muslims whom they speak Arabic, and they identify themselves as Arabs. Some of the Christians who live over there speak English. That's why we saw official language or languages which are spoken was like English as well as Arabic. So the Islam who live over there speak Arabic because see, opposite to, parallelly to that country, we have the entire Middle East countries where Arabic is the main language, be it Saudi Arabia or any other country. These are the things over there. So Arabic as well as, so people over them call them as Arabs. Okay, so we will see about three important persons in detail, and we will be discussing about the length and breadth of what has happened and why this civil war has been there in detail. So the person whom you see in this picture is known as Omar-al-Bashir. So he was the president from 1989 to 2019. Okay, so from 1989 to 2019, he has remained as the president of Sudan as well. Okay, so now let us see why the civil war has rose and what is the problem between the two factions which is residing over there. We will see that about in detail. Okay, in 1989, there was a political crisis which happened in Sudan. Okay, at that time, Sadiq al-Mahdi was the prime minister of Sudan, and he was also the let's say he was the previous prime minister during the 1966 to 1967, and from 1986 to 1989, the Sadiq al-Mahdi was the prime minister of Sudan as well. And Omar al-Bashir, okay, so he was the president, and he was also the brigadier general of the Sudanese army as well. The person in this picture is Omar al-Bashir. So he was the brigadier general of the Sudanese army as well. Basically, if you see the Sudan history, the person who was who were there in the power of president or prime minister, mostly president, so they will be from the military background only. So Omar al-Bashir was the brigadier general of Sudan as well. So this kind of things has been arising for a long time. In 1989, So he overthrew the previous prime minister, and then he came to power from 1989 to 2019 for nearly 30 years. Omar al-Bashir was the president as well as the brigadier general of the Sudanese army. So he ruled Sudanese over a period of nearly 30 years, and South Sudan gained its independence during his time only. Okay, so we have to remember all these factors. Okay, then what happened? So we'll look about the background of the Sudan crisis as well. So 2019 there was a coup actually. So former military, I mean Sudanese dictator, that is the person who I've seen in this picture, right? That is Omar al-Bashir. So, and he was the brigadier general, as we saw. Okay, so he came to power in a military coup as well. So al-Bashir in the sense al-Burhan. So al-Bashir was al-Bashir overthrew the democratically elected government. So there was a political crisis in 1989. Al-Bashir came to power in 1989 till 2019. He was remaining as the Sudanese president, and he was the brigadier military general as well. And so he overthrew the elected government. I mean, he overthrew the democratically elected government in 1989. So that was the thing. So Sheikh Al-Mahdi was the earlier prime minister. So he overthrew the elected government in 1989 and remained in. And he remained in power until he was removed from the position of Sudanese military in 2019. Okay, so we also know that he was the brigadier general of the brigadier general is one such top position of the Sudanese army as well. Okay, so there was a transitional government. Okay, so there was a transitional government, and 2000 we will see about the 2021 group as well. Okay, so the military refused to give up the power. That is in 2019, the military refused to give up the power. So he has been relied on two persons. Okay, so namely, we'll go to the next slide and come back. Okay, so these are the two persons whom he relied upon. Okay, so one is like Abdul Fattah al-Burhan. So the person in the left, so he is Abdul Fattah al-Burhan, and the person in the right, so he is General Hamdan Dagalo. Okay, so now the present civil war is due to the crisis of all these two people only. The persons whom you are seeing in the picture. Now this crisis is basically due to this two persons. Okay, so we'll go back. So there was a transitional government, as we saw. Okay, so initially the military refused to give power. The popular protests have been taking place from both civilian as well as the army forces. Okay, so the transitional government was unopposed and to remain in election until the democratic elections took place in 2023. Okay, so there was an agreement between all these two peoples to remove that Omar al-Bashir from the government so that we can manage the power. So there was there is a transitional group over there. We'll read about that in detail also, because there was a transitional group. From there, all these people have been trying to get the power back, because the transitional group, they have made an agreement like all this between 2019 to 2023, all these years, we can divide the government and we can rule it. Because okay, so let's see that in detail. Okay, so there was a coup in 2021. Okay, so there were the growing divisions between the civilian and as well as the military sides. Okay, and that okay, like we have to rule this period, and as I said, there was an agreement between both the sides, as well as the civilian as well as the military side. Okay, so if let's say 4 years, the military has to rule for 2 years, and they have to give it for the civilian side. See, we know the mentality of the military. If they are in role, they won't be giving that. Okay, so that as the problem has been happened. Okay, so in 2021, the military element, the civilian military coalition seized full control of the country. Okay, the military has been in control with the General Abdel al-Burhan. Okay, General Abdul Fattah al-Burhan. Okay, so that has been there. So the rapid support force, Sudanese armies has been in 2021, the Sudanese armed forces led by General Abdul Fattah al-Burhan took control of the government in a military coup. Okay, so he has replaced Omar al-Bashir. Okay, so Omar al-Bashir has been this Abdul Fattah has been one of the man of Omar al-Bashir in the earliest time. Okay, and the rapid support force, this is kind of an independent military, or let's say independent military group, and they are very less in numbers comparing to the Sudanese army. The rapid support force is very less in numbers. So this were led by the General Muhammad Hamdan Dagalo, the person who saw in your next, the person you will be seeing in the next picture. Okay, and he also worked along the Sudanese army to keep the military in power. So basically, in 2021, So basically, all these two, that is General Abdul Fateh as well as the General Muhammad Damang, they both were having a very good equations, and they have both worked together for many and many operations together, and they have a very good understanding as well. Okay, so now what happened? So the recent crisis is between the Sudanese armed forces and as well as the rapid support forces. So the Sudanese armed forces, let's say General Al Burhan and Talango. So let's keep it very short because these names are very critical. As though we from India we don't have this kinds of name in the political spectrum also. So let's keep it him as Burhan, and we'll keep it him as Dalango. Okay. So there has been a tensions between Dalango as well as Burhan. Okay. So like Burhan, like we'll see why they are hitting Dalango and they are not leaving him to power as well. So the recent crisis, okay. So the recent crisis is between the Sudanese armed forces and rapid support forces. So the Sudanese armed forces is led by Burhan. Okay. So now he is the president of Sudan as well. So during this era, I mean, whenever President Burhan takes places, okay, till date, from 2019 to till date, he has been the president of Sudanese as well. So he overthrew Omar al-Bashir and he came to power. Okay. So during his visit, he visited UAE, he visited Saudi Arabia, he visited Israel, he visited the United States. The then Mike Pompeo and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has visited Burhan as well, because they see Sudan as one of the what to say, like potential base, let's say potential country to have their interest, because America sees their interest first. Okay, so they see these kinds of things over there. Okay, so Burhan is more inclined towards the civil rule. Okay, and the transition of civilian rule under the international pressure with the RSF leader. Okay, so opposed. The RSF leader has opposed it. So as we know, all these things were done by Burhan as well. So Burhan is more interested of a civilian rule, and where with the international pressure, Burhan is looking for an Burhan is looking like, okay, we will rule the country permanently. We will rule the country till we have the power. Okay, so Burhan is having that kind of a mindset over within him. Okay, so recent crisis, like Burhan wants to continue the rule under the international pressure, but RSF leader Dalango didn't want to do that. Okay, because now the crisis is between two men, that is Burhan as well as Dalango. As I said earlier, Burhan wants RSF to come under the unified command of the Sudanese armed forces, so that he has a oversight. See, the rapid support force has been built by Dalango, and he did many operations, and the men who are in the RSF belongs to the support or will support Dalango only. But Burhan didn't like that, and he wants RSF to come under the command of SAF. This is how the basic thing of the civil war which is going on. And now RSF is very limited. Okay, so might be they will be like from 500 to 1,000 people, and they are very powerful as well as popular as well. Okay, in the country of Sudan. Okay, now they have started the war, and there is the war is going on between the RSF as well as the SAF. So this is between the Sudanese armed forces and the rapid support forces. Let's see that in detail. Okay, so why this power has been so? There has been one organization known as Transitional Sovereignty Council. Okay, so the Transitional Sovereignty Council is basically between the two groups. One group is like military juntas. Military juntas in the sense group of military leaders. That's where Burhan will be present. The second is civil groups. So the civil groups express their interest of ruling Sudan as well. Okay, so there has been agreement. So there has been an agreement in 2019 that we will rule. In terms of it, if it is 4 years, we will rule it for 2 years, and you rule it for 2 years. Okay, so this has been an agreement which is over there. So 2021, the term of military juntas came to an end. As I said, military won't give back your powers. Okay, so that's the main problem over there. So they won't give you whatever the country is in situation, even be very worst kind of a situation, but they won't give you back the power as well. Okay, so these are the things. So at that time also, the rapid support force head Dalango was in touch with all these people. Okay, so this is one such kind of a thing. So from 2019 to till date, the military junta has been ruling the Sudanese government as well. So the Transitional Sovereignty Council has decided to break it as a two parts. One is military junta and the other one is civilian in 2019, and half of the year they will be in rule, and half of the term they will be in rule. Okay, but they didn't give it back. Okay, so this is the map of Sudan. So where you have the Port Sudan as well, where it is bordered with Red Sea, and Khartoum, it's like a center region. Okay, so for years actually, from 1989 to 2019, all these 30 years, we saw who was in power, but there was an elitism in this Khartoum region. All these people who are from the Khartoum region were in power and will be in power. There was a kind of a mindset like we have to be ruling this country. There should be no other opportunities which has to be given to the other peoples. See, Dalango belongs to the Darfur region. Okay, and Dalango has invested heavily in the Darfur region based on mining as well as in other business opportunity as well. So Dalango has an opportunity. Okay, like let's wait for some years. Like we will also be coming to the power in certain period of time. Okay, so at one point of time, General Burhan was very clear that okay, I'm not ready to leave the throne for anyone as well. Okay, so Darfur is one such backward region as well, and Darfur is like okay, like no other person or no other politicians will be able to come to power due course of time. We'll see that. Okay, so this is the main political thing, or this is the main political rival which is going on. See, that is between the two individuals. Al Burhan and Dalango, and the Darfur region is heavily affected by this. See, let's say Darfur region is basically where poverty is there, and how to say, the war has begun in 2003. Okay, so nearly 3 lakh people have been killed. So some has left the campus and some have left the country as well. South Sudan is bordered with this Darfur area, and they have got their independence because they mainly the people from Darfur has been left the country due to this civil war or poverty or war against them, and they have left to various countries as well. So this is Darfur region. So now we can able to understand clearly that General Al Burhan was not ready to give his place to Dalango, since he belongs to this Darfur region, and this people is this place is considered as a somewhat a backward place in Sudan as well. So they were not ready to the military junta is not ready to give it to the civilian people as well. So now you can ask me a question. Okay, sir, this term has ended in 2021 itself. Why still their protest is going on? Okay, see, general after 2021, what let's go back and see. See, after 2021, what Burhan did was like, he started to appoint the various political representatives who were at the time of General al-Bashir. Okay, so General al-Bashir was there for 30 years. So he would have built his own, like what government, I would say, but because he was there for 30 years. Okay, so what Burhan did was like, he started to appoint the people of let's say people of Bashir, and he started to reinstigate the people of Bashir in the government as well. So okay, let's Dalango was like very clear. Okay, this is not going to be end well. Okay, so this is not going to end well. Okay, so he waited for some time, and Bashir, when Burhan thought that Dalango will not be moreover in his control, he said that the RSF will be under the control of military, Sudanese armed forces. Okay, so that's where the civil war has started to rose. So it is between two individuals, Burhan and Dalango, and this is which is happening now. The RSF, and as the time we speak, the RSF has been starting or waged a war between. So there is a war which is going on between SAF as well as RSF. So we don't know till when it will go on and till when it will stop. Okay, let's see what is this Haki Paki tribe. This has been in Sudan. This has been in news as well. So there is a huge demand for this Ayurvedic products in the African continent. As we all know that Africa is one such continent where some of the countries would have developed. A country like Sudan is not that much economically well-versed country, I would say. Okay, so as a Sudanese, like they are very offered, they are very expensive to afford the English medicines as well. And they have been looking for some cheaper or alternative, effective alternatives as well. So the Akipaki tribes, as they have the very good knowledge of this Ayurvedic or traditional, what we call it as Ayurvedic. So they have the traditional knowledge of what is being done in the with this medicines. Okay, so and they have been in this continent, I mean in this African continent for many over years actually. So they carried the herbs and other medicines required for the treatment from India and sold items here. Okay, so this has been over there. So they are doing as a service and they are doing it as an business also, because they have to live at the end of the day. Okay, right. So the the African countries offer the Akipaki tribe an opportunity to escape poverty faster and demand because African country is one such place where you can see malnutrition, you can see AIDS which is spreaded over there, you can see shorting of the child, weight losage of the child. Malaria, etc., 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 etc. So you can see what are all the diseases you can also see over there. Okay, so what the African countries offer the Akipaki tribe is like, okay, you have to. I mean the tribe. I mean the particular community has to end its come out of the poverty as well. So there has been a growing demand for this kind of medical products in the Africa, as well as they have been maintaining over this for a long time. So this is about the Akipaki tribe. So Akipaki tribe is in Sudan. They live in the most of the parts of the country, and they learned and they have been doing this business, and they have brought the requirements from the Indian as well. Okay, so the Akipaki tribes have the very good knowledge of the medical knowledge, I mean the ancient as well as the traditional medical knowledge as well. Okay, let's see what is Operation Kaveri. Like India has been a savior of many countries as well. We have done Operation Those recently in Turkey when the earthquake has happened, and we have done the Operation Ganga while Ukraine was in war with Russia. So we have been saving our Indian community or the Indian diaspora, like Hanuman carrying the Sanjeevi Malai. Okay, so Operation Kaveri is a mission as well as India to evacuate its nationalist. Without any damages which has to be caused to them. So they are Sudan is very. Sudan is very sensitive now. We have to say that we have to accept that Sudan is very sensitive now. And so, as a part of operations like the Indian Air Forces is keep on flying to Sudan, and it has been bringing all those peoples back to India as well. We have been doing this for a long time. As I said, Operation Ghost and Operation Kaveri, and we have done many more things with our Indian Air Force as well as with Indian Navy as well. So why Operation Kaveri? What does this name mention? Okay, so the Kaveri has been named because Kaveri is one such important river in the Indian Peninsula as well. So and that is a lifeline for many of these southern states like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and it flows through the Union Territory of Pondicherry as well. Okay, so the southern states have been it flows through the southern states as well, where they worship the river Kaveri as Mother Kaveri as well. So Kaveri has been basically named after the river Kaveri as well, because we have been giving the name Operation Ganga, which also resembles the name river name as well. So these are the things which is behind the Sudanese crisis, and it's been a very long time because from General Al Burhan to Dalango. So this has been happening for a long time. Let's see what is going to happen in Sudan as well. So we have to wait and watch. If there is any doubt you have, because this is a long chapter and you'll be certainly having some doubts. If you have any doubts, let's keep your comments. Give your comments in the comment section. We will try to clear that in the next video as well. Thank you. Since we in our Sunrise Academy will be able to provide more such long videos or conceptual clarity like this. So thank you so much for your wonderful time.